That's doing that. How's everybody doing this morning? Conversation for today is how does it survive? I think I spelt that right. How does it survive? Let me mute the volume over here. When we set up a goal, how does Christmas survive? Right? This is what this week is between Christmas and New Year's. It turned out to be that. I wasn't planning on it being this. It just showed up in meditation. So it's kind of been a theme for the last few days. So the question is this: how does Christmas survive a full year? Think about that. Think about that for just a moment. Let that settle in for just a second. How does it survive? How does your birthday survive? Well, because we're doing it every day. Is it possible that we carry it with us every day? It's just, it winds up, its light gets a little less and less and less and less every time we have a conversation about something other than Christmas. This conversation is keeping it alive a little bit more. Isn't that how what do you call them? Charities get started, and charities either grow because more people come in. You know, the Susan G. Komen Foundation, that started with somebody's idea, one person's idea, and all of a sudden it's turned into real big. It's had its issues with what it does with its money and different things like that. I get that. But here's the point. You look at Herbalife. Herbalife started with Mark Hughes, Larry Thompson, Jim Rohn, right? And they started it and they built it and it turned into this billion-dollar giant. Mark never got to see that. But is the story strong enough to last all year long? Company conventions happen, and they'll have it once a year, right? Their national or global convention. How does it last to the next year? All the little meetings in between. So I'm asking you this to set up the stage for, how do your dreams last? What is required for them to last? How long do they need to last? Christmas is fading away. The holiday season is fading away. Usually after the 1st, by the 7th, most people have their Christmas decorations down. I say most. I grew up in a part of the country and in a certain demographic where sometimes people left up their lights as yard lights. So I'm saying this to say, how does it survive? Because if it's not surviving, if it's not thriving, it's dying. Does that make sense? Where do dreams go? Where does your goal go? The thing you wanted to do last January 1st, just in the chat box, is there anything you said that you wanted to do in 2019 that was going to be a resolution that kind of slipped away on you? Type a yes in the chat box. So I'll type mine because it happened to me. I don't even remember what I had for some of my goals for 2019. One of them was to do a push-up every day. I probably got to 30 days, right? I could do 30 push-ups in a day. And then for some reason, somehow, somewhere, that slipped away. Easy to do, easy not to do. Good morning, Fanny. Good morning, Bob and Brooke and Bob Kane on the phone. So how does it survive? We asked, when was it? Where was it? Where is it? Where did it go? And now I'm asking, how does it survive? How does Christmas survive a whole year? With all of the challenges and the trials and the punishments and the meanness and all of that stuff that seems to go away around the holiday. Why? What's wrong with keeping that all year long? What's wrong with keeping that all year long? Well, I do that. Do we really? The excitement, the enthusiasm, the thought of opening a gift. Now, some people, Christmas is a very sad holiday season. right? Starting with Thanksgiving, their family's not here. They lost a family member. There's some big challenges. It's bad memories. Well, what's the good memory? So if this was 2020, December 28th, 2020, tell me what happened. The exercise for today is to start to describe in today's language, meaning this is the day, December 29th, 2020. Write out your story. Oh my God, you wouldn't believe what happened in June. June's my birthday, my 55th birthday, if I do the math right. There was a pretty special surprise that happened for me. I had no idea. My business had taken off, and one of my goals back in January was to start to build in Ireland, because I want to have a tax write-off to be able to go show Mason Ireland and Europe. So it's to go build a business in Europe, right? Why not? Why not? If your company is there, if your company, you can go do business where you want to go travel, go do it. That's a big focus for me this year, is to go build near the beaches and build in the mountains. That's pretty much it. Other people will come in, but my focus is beaches and mountains. Next year, Christmas time, we're going to be in Beaver Creek or Vail. I'm not sure which. I haven't decided yet. And we're going to be holding meetings, but we're going to be there on a family vacation. Just saying. Be deliberate with your success. How do your dreams survive? We need to feed them. Imagine, I don't have any plants in my office. Imagine if I took a little plant. It was a Christmas plant, right? Christmas cactus. They have those things that are colorful. If I were to take one of those and just stick it in the shelf in the pantry, what would happen to it? Would I be surprised? How surprised would I be if I thought I put it in there and it'd be fine till next year without doing anything to it? I didn't water it, didn't give it any light, didn't give it any hope, didn't give it nothing. And I go and open up the pantry Thanksgiving of next year, getting ready to put out some Christmas decorations. And I'm like, oh my God, this thing is dead. What the hell happened? You know what would happen? This just hit me. This whole movie just flashed through my head. You know what would hit me? Is somebody would have seen it dead in June and thrown it out, and I would have forgotten about it completely. How many people have come through your life? How many people have stepped into your energy orbit, into your aura, into your world of wonder, and saw some dead dreams in yours and threw them out on you? How many old stories from the past, how many old conversations from the past have shown up in your life and thrown out the stories of your goals, and you didn't even know they were gone? That little Christmas cactus I put in back in 2019, it was cool. It was neat. Somebody had given it to me. I thought it would be cool. It's a great little goal to have that Christmas cactus for next year. But you know what? So much stuff happens in my day and in my life. So many new things have been happening. Man, I forgot all about that thing. And I didn't even know until somebody told me yesterday going, hey, remember that Christmas cactus? They show me a picture. And there's the Christmas cactus from last year, 2019. And I'm sitting here now going, geez, yeah, what did happen to that? How many of us are sitting there having a conversation about our own goals, about our own dreams, going, yeah, what did happen to that? What did happen to me becoming a millionaire? What did happen to me being 30 pounds lighter? What did happen to me having reaching this rank in this blah, blah, blah? What did happen to me getting my kids these toys? What did happen to me? Fill in the blank. Man, it's why we have to take some serious time to do some introspection.
Speaking of which,
focus on our goals.
Speaking of which, I have a hypothesis that has bubbled up for me in the last, since yesterday this time.
Cool.
When you suggested a book by Mariano Sigman.
Yes.
Is that book in Spanish perchance, or is it in English?
This book is in English.
Great. Anyway, so I went out on YouTube and looked up the dude.
Yeah.
And I found an extremely interesting little 12-minute clip titled "Your Words Can Predict Your Future." And what was so fascinating was that he and his associates have done research on the correlation amongst words over the millennia, and he has a very interesting graph that shows the relatively flat level of introspection revealed by the words of people up through the Old Testament. And at the point when Christ appears, there's a hockey stick rise in introspection. And when you think about it, it raises a question: which came first? Something that happened via Christ or the people that were around him at that point in time? Or was there something that shifted in their ability to be introspective, something from the outside? But what I'm getting to is, to answer your question, where did Christmas go? Where did your dreams go? The information in Segman's video would suggest that it has to do with introspection. The amount of time we spend looking at, thinking about our dreams and ourself in relationship to our dreams.
I love it.
And that makes all the difference in the world. That's one of the most profound psychological ahas I've come across in a long, long time, is in that little video.
So the video link is at the bottom of that thing. I don't know where I must have copied that other thing. That must have been part of my copy and paste someplace else. I'm trying to think of what it is.
I think if I remember right, it was titled "Your Words Will Predict Your Future."
Yep. Your words may predict the future of your mental health. And so that's the link of the YouTube that's here in a comment in the chats.
Right. And what he discovered was that he and his team was able to develop an algorithm to relate the words that people use to the prediction of whether they will succumb to schizophrenia with like 97% accuracy or something like that.
Holy mackerel.
Tremendous amount of accuracy, just by recognizing the pattern of the words that are going on in the person's brain.
Well, and funny how this leads us right back into our business model. Because I look at the comments and I usually like to read what people are saying to get a perspective. But the most recent comment was 3 years ago. He did this back in June 2016. June
right.
16.
Yeah, that's right.
So how did this survive? Well, it survived because a farm boy from Ohio goes and pulls out a book.
Or a few other people paid attention to his work.
Yeah. And then Bob hears it from me, and Bob goes and actually looks for it. I got the book. He went and looked for this. And all of a sudden, now we're back here. And if somebody makes a comment, well, how do you think the author feels if all of a sudden 3 years later, somebody starts making comments on his post again? How do our dreams survive? He may sit there and, man, this is going to be the next Brene Brown, and it'll be 25 million views. Not so much. It got 700,000. But it stopped. I bet it stopped. That was 712,173 back in July of 2016. So the words, I'm definitely going to listen to this. I can't play it on this because I've got my live stream going, and there'll be 2 recordings coming out, I think. Maybe not. Maybe not. Let's see here. I'll try something. Let's see. I think it's valuable, so we're going to try this. Let's see what it does. Share computer sound. Do that. No, because it's going to play both sounds. Oh, no, because I can mute the...
We have historical records that allow us to know how the ancient Greeks dressed.
Can you all see that? Somebody give me a verbal.
Yeah, you can see that.
Okay, good.
How they lived, how they fought. But how did they think? One natural idea is that the deepest aspects of human thought, our ability to imagine, to be conscious, to dream, have always been the same. Another possibility is that the social transformations that have shaped our culture may have also changed the structural columns of human thought. We may all have different opinions about this. Actually, it's a long-standing philosophical debate. But is this question even amenable to science? Here, I'd like to propose that in the same way that we can reconstruct how the ancient Greek cities looked like, just based on a few bricks, that the writings of a culture are the archaeological records, the fossils of human thought.
So here's the funny thing. I've watched this purposely, never paid attention to the name, never connected the book to this guy. I know this video. I didn't know it well enough.
And in fact, doing some form of psychological analysis of some of the most ancient books of human culture, Julian Jaynes came in the 70s with a very wild and radical hypothesis. That only 3,000 years ago, humans were what today we would call schizophrenics. And he made this claim based on the fact that the first humans described in these books behaved consistently in different traditions and in different places of the world, as if they would be hearing and obeying voices that they perceived as coming from the gods or from the muses, what today we would call hallucinations. And only then, as time went on, they began to recognize that they were the creators, the owners of these inner voices.
Okay, that's huge. Somebody help me with that. What did you get when you just heard that? When he said that we would they would be considered all schizophrenics because the voices were coming from inside. And they were thinking it was coming from outside, but they were being poured into their head, that they didn't own their own thoughts. Did y'all hear that? That's what I heard. Is that what you guys heard? What did you hear when he just said that? Yeah, we're afraid of our own thoughts, Alicia. Yet they're the only things we can have. Even me having this conversation, this dialogue that's directly related to you and me, be based upon a text you posted in the comments. You can only have your thoughts. I can only have mine.
But what he's suggesting is that all of this is subjected to the evolution of our ability to think, particularly in terms of words and images.
Correct.
And what's interesting is if you were able to pull up that graph of introspection from about 3,000 years forward.
Is that in the video?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
in there somewhere. It's probably about maybe about halfway through, somewhere in there.
There it is. Let's see here.
Maybe you can find it. I didn't.
Sunlight, astronomy, nuclei. Let's see here.
It's a graph.
Hold on. Hold, please. There it is. Share. Desktop 2, shared screen.
So for instance, words such as self, guilt, reason, emotion are very close to introspection. But other words such as red, football, candle, banana are just very far away.
I think it's after
And so
that.
once we've built this space, Greek tradition.
Well,
So you can see that
that's one of them that's very interesting. But there's another one. That's the one right there.
Okay. So we'll back it up just a hair. Hear him.
And tradition. So we just ran the same analysis on the Judeo-Christian tradition, and we got virtually the same pattern. Again, you see a small increase for the oldest books in the Old Testament, and then it increases much more rapidly in the new books of the New Testament. And then we get a peak of introspection in the work Confessions of St. Augustine, about 4 centuries after Christ. And this was very important, because St. Augustine had introspection in the work.
So help us out, Bob.
Well, what resonated for me was with my limited understanding of the Bible and exposure to it, and with the help of some people who have spent years and years studying the Bible, and come to many different conclusions that maybe than the majority of believers hold. What's interesting to me is that when you think about what the Old Testament was largely about the 10 Commandments and following blindly a set of rules. But hardly anywhere in your exposure to the Old Testament are you treated to learning how to think. And so, and then when Jesus appears, all of a sudden, he's not telling you how to think or what to think, but through the things that he's teaching you how to figure out being your own, much more your own agent. And I apologize because I don't have enough familiarity with the scriptures and so on to back that up. But essentially, that's a difference.
Yes.
And so the brutality and the blind obedience, almost like people were treated like dogs. You obey, otherwise you get punished. After Jesus appears, there's an entirely different approach to life and way of looking at behavior and relationships and all that sort of thing. And to me, it's just interesting that it's correlated to introspection, to the ability of people to think about their condition in life, about their plight, about what they're about, and make their own decisions as opposed to just stimulant response reacting. And then along comes the Greeks, where we have in all of a sudden an increase in the thinking, increase in introspection.
Well, this era right here is called the Stoics, right? Stoicism, reflecting.
Right.
So, I mean, it's interesting that the same thing, it's not the same time frame.
Right.
But isn't it funny how history repeats itself? Look at that dotted line, right, and then overlay that dotted line into this, and it kind of looks the same.
And to me, overall, it suggests a very hopeful possibility that we're moving into an even greater capacity to think, reflect.
Well, I believe we are because of the access to all of the information we have, right? There's not a single question you can't get answered today. There's not a how you can't find out about.
And there's the impetus to make meaning of all the new information that comes your way, whether you necessarily want to or not. You're kind of driven to, what's that all about? I got to figure that out. Otherwise, I'm not with it.
So then, going back, looking at those charts that go like this, that hockey stick up. Back when it was the Iliad and the Odyssey, back in the Old Testament, where was self-introspection?
Apparently, it was pretty much underground, or to a degree it was.
Yet we didn't evolve that much as human beings in those 1,000 years. We've changed. I mean, maybe maybe our pinky toe got a little bit smaller, maybe this, that, or the other. But how did self-introspection survive in such an environment where it wasn't allowed to be used? So that goes back to bring it from 1000 BC, the Iliad and the Odyssey, to 2020. And I ask you this question: what's residing in the depths of your soul that's surviving? Somehow you're feeding it. Somehow there's that little, what's that thing we all say, we all hear in movies? There was a little voice inside of me that said, and what Mariano said, they would consider themselves schizophrenics. People who were empathetic, who understood, who could feel the energy of others. When they would say that, they were considered witches and warlocks and all of this other stuff. How do your dreams survive?
By thinking about them, by making models, internal models that you represent to yourself all the time.
And because of so much information available, right? 30 years ago, we couldn't have gotten on a call like this. I couldn't have shared, Bob couldn't have said, oh, Mariano, yeah, he's got a great video, pull that up. There was no way to be able to have this simple transaction exist 30 years ago. He could have shared about it, but there would have been no way for me to go and then hover through the timeline of the video and go, oh yeah, that's the graph right there, stop, where he could see it from Ohio. All of these things that we decide that we're going to work on this year, we're going to do it this year, we're going to have to be truly selfish in order to be more self-full. Brooks, this amazing mom, she's going to have to be a little bit more self-full. Noah's this incredible husband and this amazing mechanic, builder of success, creator of success. He's going to have to be a little more self-full.
And I think that requires more introspection.
Exactly. So we're going to have to take time. We really are going to have to take time in this world of everything to focus on the world of us. In this world of all possibilities, we have to focus on our own possibilities, which means we may wind up turning a shoulder to some folks. You know, I'll say this out loud right now. If you didn't get on this call, but took the hour to go work on you every other day, twice, 3, 4, 5 times a day, 5 times a week, and you got on this call a couple of times to sharpen the saw, to check the compass, to see if it feels right, what you're doing, I would be ecstatic. Absolutely ecstatic. You have to work on your gold. You've got to build your smelting factory, taking all of this powerful information that you're getting. This is a whole nother this is a whole nother rabbit trail. This is a whole nother rabbit hole, looking at this graph right here, looking at this video right here, where we could go off on this. And now all of a sudden we become advocates of Mariano, going, oh my gosh. And now you try to start to tell that to people who are outside of this group. Your words are going to predict your mental future. Have you lost your mind? There is going to be some isolation that needs to happen for each of us. We really need to work on us.
But I think it portends on the whole, for a continuing renaissance or developmental surge. It's almost like the frog in the boiling water effect. We probably can't avoid this. The pressures of information and change are going to force us to become more introspective, more self-caring, and at the same time caring for the rest of the global community.
I think there's absolutely no doubt that statement is a factual statement. The thing that's going to be weird is that as we start to point out, Larry Thompson taught me this, as we point out, and we've all heard this before, but if I'm doing this, which I'm doing every morning on these calls, I'm doing this, what Bob is sharing, the visual for me is if I'm pointing out that way, there's 3 pointing back to me. And I lose my ability to do this if I'm not paying attention to what's coming back to me. This graph is, I've seen this video before. I've seen it probably 4 or 5 times. I never paid attention to the name. It would show up in my TED app because it's about mental health, right? I'm Googling about mental health, your addiction to approval, mental addiction, all of this stuff. And of course, this would pop up. But until today, I don't know that I referenced it in a way that I've looked at it this way, because now Bob pointed it out. I'm looking at it, and now I see it 3 different new ways. So I believe where we're going is we will be pointing people in a lot of directions. We will be telling our stories more. If 2020 is the year of your growth, continued year of your growth, you're going to revive all of those things that have been sitting on the shelf in life support, barely surviving, your financial goals, right? Your 5 areas: money, finances, family, mental, body, and society. And if you're spiritual at the core, those 6 areas, some of those things have been on life support. How does it survive? How is it surviving right now? How are you surviving? What would transition from you to survive to thrive? There's going to be people who are going to get left in the dust when you go into thrive mode, when you go into higher thrive mode, when you double your capacity, when you double your capability, when you start to use all that you can. We all hear the story about Rhonda doing what she couldn't do in 5 months. She did it in 4 hours. Her and I had a conversation about that yesterday, going, wait a minute, she made a statement saying, I want to do more. I'm ready to do more. And I'm like, boy, that's the self-talk coming up to bite you in the butt. She goes, what are you talking about? I want to do more. How could you do any more? How could any of you right now? I'll pick on Brooke. I love Brooke. We've talked. I know some of the things she's done as a nurse and working and building her business and studying and putting in 7-8 hours a day into her business, as far as learning her program, learning her system, learning her educational system. And she's become wildly successful. So much so that she has life choices. But how could you do any more? Not one of you could do any more. Think about this. Let this sink in for just a second. You can't do any more. Follow me on this. You can only do less. So if I have 24 hours in a day, I already have the most. I can do less sleep. That'll let me do more. I can do less calls in the morning. That'll give me an hour in the morning. That'll give me 3 hours in the morning. My 2 hours of meditation, I can turn in that next hour into something else. But I can't do more. I can do less. That allows me to shift things around. It's not time management, it's energy management. And when I shared with her, when it fell on her, when it landed on her, this idea that she can't do more, the only reason we say I need to do more is because we want to think we're not doing enough. This is where we talk about moving from traction, from distraction to traction. You can't have either unless you know which way you're going. You can't have, no, that's a distraction. Bullshit. It's not distraction. You don't even know which way you're going. Editorially speaking, people come to me all the time and say, listen, I need a mentorship call. I go, great. Fill out the PayPal, send it over. And they send over the $250. They have my attention. I got their attention. They will listen when they pay for it. So they pay for it. They go, man, I'm just getting distracted. I go, that is such horse manure. Why? I got to get focused. You don't know where you're going. You can't have distraction unless you know where your traction was. We can't do more. We have to do less. And nobody is teaching that. I shouldn't say that. Most of the coaches that I hang around and the trainers that I hang around, they get so ticked off at me in a friendly way. Some probably not in a friendly way. I just don't know it. We don't hang in those circles anymore. But they get mad at me going, why do you keep telling people you have to do less? They got to get another product. Why aren't they buying another product? I hear people return stuff after they get on your calls. I'm like, dude, not my problem. I don't have anybody return my stuff. They go, well, yeah, that's because you're not selling anything. I go, yeah, I know, I'm afraid. I don't want to get a return. I'll feel so sad. I'll go crawl into the covers for a week. So I just rather give it away. My point is this: you can't do more. You can't get better at a minute. You can't. You can only live in the minute. You can only live in the minute. This isn't about efficiency. Yeah, if you spend 45 minutes on the toilet because you're playing video games, you might want to change that. That could be time management, but it's energy management because you think that's where your release. You need that little break. If you cut the grass at your home, you're making $20 an hour. Can you make more than that doing something else? Now, change that from, it only costs me $20 to go to the gym because it's an exercise. It gives me a chance to relax and let my brain go empty, to let it dump. It's that mind numbing thing, right? They say sometimes playing video games are a good thing because it lets you relax. We're not going to get in the argument of the violence or any of that stuff. But sometimes we need that mind numbing disconnect. Sometimes for some of us, it's driving. You get home, you don't even know you got home. You can't do more. You can only do less. Less TV time. Great. What are you going to fill it with? Less living in self-doubt. Great. What are you going to fill it with? Less trying to do things for my team. But no. They're grown-ups. They're adults. Give them the pick and shovel. Don't be doing the mining for them. You can't lift their weights. You can do less of doing it for them. Get better at teaching. We can't do more. That would mean if we could do more, we're going to do everything we have now plus stuff. It's impossible. You got 24 hours. You're going to have to learn how to do less. And that's where we fall short. That's where we wind up with this. Oh my God, I feel worthless if I don't do this for them or do that or do this or do that. Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change.
That's so funny that you say that, because this year I've actually told my team that instead of me doing mentor calls, I'm actually going to have each one of them do their own mentor call each week. And they're like, oh my gosh, I love this. And I was like, well, it's a great opportunity for you guys to grow so that once you guys have your team, you guys are prepared for that. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm sick.
Okay, so change that. You said a very powerful I am statement.
I'm sorry. I am not sick.
No, it's not that. I'm healthy and getting better.
I'm healthy and I'm getting better. But you know, that's one of the things about being on this call. You know, every day you're teaching us just a little bit more about our self-awareness and how we're supposed to actually be thinking, because nobody has taught us that this is the way we should think, because we've been so closed-minded to what the reality is. And it's so funny because, you know, just having these moments, it allows us to expand our brains and get to that next level, so that not only we're opening up ourselves, but we can go ahead and speak to other people and they're able to expand themselves as well. So it's amazing. I thank you, Sean. You
Well,
always make, I'm so grateful for you, and Bob as well.
Well, here's the thing. This is what a mastermind is supposed to be like. This isn't a monologue where I sit here and pontificate about how good I am, and you guys all like little good minions all tell me how great I am. And oh my God, I've never heard anybody do this. We're all equal. We're all equal because we each have unequal experiences. We're all equal in our unequalness, in our unique perspective. You're in this moment, and you're sharing it with me. You could share it with 1,000 other things. And in this moment, you're with me. I'm with you. We're all in this moment. There is nothing different about us. We have unique experiences. Mine's different. Yours is different. Me talking this way and you receiving it is totally different. You just sharing what you did to me gave me amazing ideas. And we all hold each other a little bit accountable, which is why I heard you say you're in the process of healing, because you said a very powerful I am statement. I hear those things. And maybe this whole call was to remind you how powerful you are, and be careful of, funny we should say this, the words we use. Life is pretty amazing.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Bob Kane.
Well, to me, the name of the group, Daily Awakening, and awakening to me is just becoming aware of things that you weren't aware of before. There's so many things around us that are there that we can only take in or perceive so much data, so many visual or audio inputs, but there's so many other things that we're not aware of. They're just going by us. And to me, it's a matter of becoming awakened or aware of things that I wasn't before, in so many different facets of life. So I think that's one of the keys that I find this group so valuable, is helping on that journey.
Well, and here's the thing, Bob. So I'll share something. We take in, the brain is constantly nexting. And we are playing out, each of you right now are playing out about 15, they say about 15 to 16 possible scenarios of this conversation. There's a unique perspective you're playing out because you're part of this dialogue. Everybody else is playing this out based upon dialogues you and I have had in the past at a subconscious level. It's called nexting. It's why when they hear your voice and they hear your pentameter and they hear your your pitch and your pace, they go, oh, that's Bob Kane. How many of you knew that was Bob? But besides the visual of seeing that he's on the call, he's on the phone, and normally he's been calling in on the phone. How many of you, as soon as you heard his voice, nobody got shocked? Nobody went, that's not Bob. Every one of you said that's Bob. Yeah, that's Bob. You expected that. You started to hear that vibration of his voice in your ears, in your head. I say this to say, Bob, when you say daily awakening, it's what we put our focus on. Listen carefully. Of the 15 to 16 possible nexting scenarios, your brain is taking in 2 million bits of information through your eyes, just 2 million bits of information per second through your eyes. And it's taking in about another 4 or 5 million bits of information, just little things. If the way you're holding your phone next to you, the way your heart beats and it moves your arm like that, it's just a minute, your body is constantly checking, going, that's not a problem, that's not a problem, that's not a problem, that's not a problem. Oh, by the way, we got to keep breathing. Oh, by the way, we got to do this. What happens is that all of this information comes into the body. None of it gets thrown up into the long-term memory because it's not important. Out of the 4 million bits of information coming into your body, 40 make it into the conscious mind. That means, somebody help me, 4,999,960 bits of information go poof. They get stored. Everything that happens to you gets recorded in your brain. Everything you say, everything you do, everything that's said to you, every experience. And it doesn't it doesn't come up to the surface unless it's important. We've all been in restaurants. I've used this example 1,000 times. A plate of dishes crash and we all jump. We go, oh, that's just a plate of dishes. And then to use the adrenaline that just got pumped into our body, we all go, because we kind of like somebody, right?
Except if it was our meal.
Yeah. So what happens is that the reticular activating system, right? We said it the other day. What we think about and think about, we bring about. What we think about shows up. Where thoughts go. Bob said, where thoughts go. I use my words, but he used another expression. Where thoughts go, results follow. Where you put your energy, those things show up. So what this daily awakening is starting to take the look from out that way and starting to put it back this way. Like Brooke said, starting to look at us, starting to teach us how to take care of us. Because somebody poured this into me over the last 30 years. It's why I had this thing, December 18th, a year ago, December 18th, I came out of my skin. I was vibrating. I mean, physically, my body was shaking. I said, enough, get out of your freaking way. And so we did that for the last year, and now we're awakening this year, when we'll probably awaken for the rest of however long these calls last. But be aware that all you're doing is seeing new stuff. It's already coming in. It's been coming in for years. It's why you can go, geez, you know, I keep saying I need to do that, because it's been coming in. The old pattern, the old subconscious pattern, the old routine keeps pushing it down, going, Bob, your grandmother said when you were 4 years old, you'll never be. And that boy, that took a path. I don't know if that was the case, but you know what I'm saying. There's these old stories that reside. Yeah. Every person I have a conversation with, it goes back to childhood. And coaches and trainers keep wanting to sell you a product today. Oh, well, just do this. Here's a script. Here's a this. Here's a that. And we keep buying that stuff. And it doesn't perform to its fullest extent because we still have that old story running around holding our, it's the sewing thread that's got to the lawn chair that's out in the middle of the yard, and we think we're stuck there. Kind of like the elephant in the rope, right? So if you think about this, we can actually take it to the extreme and go, how is it possible that any of our dreams ever survive? Any of them? If we have all of this negative, you're not good enough, strong enough, tall enough, this, that, or the other, we're constantly in a state of comparison. We're constantly comparing ourselves to other people in our business, in our organization, people around us. And then when we are better, we wind up crushing ourselves up. You look at very tall women as an example. Out in, there's not that many of them around, but when they show up, there's two kinds of. They'll have two body statures. One, they'll be 6 foot tall and in heels and be 6'4", or they'll be 6'1" and they'll be with rounded shoulders and in flats, and with non-flashy attire. They'll just be in this very don't notice me outfits. Where are you at? I'm asking you, go light yourself on fire. Go do some crazy. And I promise you, what you think is crazy, we'll go, oh, look at that. When I teach public speaking and I go, listen, okay, so we're to the part of the training right now where you're going to get in front of the room, be it on a Zoom or whatever, and you're going to do a presentation, and you're going to just 10x the emotion in it. You're going to 10x the volume in it. You're going to just absolutely go bonkers on it. And when you do that, we're going to give you some feedback. And when they get in front of the room and they start going, this is important, and oh my God, I feel like I was so embarrassed. I was just over the top. And everybody goes, no, that was a good presentation. There was nothing over the top about that. And we think we're so over the top. We think we're so over the top. We haven't even gotten to the top ladder. We just crawled out of the basement to show up how we should show up every day.
In Dana's terms, it would be increasing your signal to noise ratio.
Just in case Dana watches the recording and goes, the hell are you talking about? Oh, Bob translated it. Thank you. I love it. I go back to Brooke. Brooke and I haven't had a conversation in the last week or so. So if I ask Brooke, I go, Brooke, I bet you're going through a breakthrough. I bet there's some things that are changing in your life right now that at a subconscious level, you said, this is too much, too fast. And we found a way to get it, to reduce our immune system, because the easiest way for moms to slow down is to get sick. The easiest way to say, I need to struggle more, is to get sick and still have to do all of that. She still has to do all of the stuff. She's not like a guy where you can go sit on the couch and go, oh, I'm so sick. She still got to do all her stuff, but she found a way to put the struggle in it. Moms can heal with a kiss. Moms can heal themselves like this. There's a gift that God gives moms that dads will never have. Yet moms will find a way to make it a tougher battle and make it that they got to sacrifice more, that I'm not good enough. I don't deserve the things that are happening right now. And they'll find a struggle. All it is your immune system. If you sat for an hour, totally focused on you, believing in you, having a conversation about you, this would be gone tomorrow. But you've been having, again, I could be totally off. I may be, Sean, you're an idiot. You missed this one by a mile. Could be. God knows that's happened many times before. But maybe not. There's too much joy inside of you. There's too much love inside of you, Brooke, for you. You don't have time to be sick. You just don't. But your outside environment said there's too much good happening to you. I'm just guessing. Life is predictable sometimes. Back to our conversation. Where do dreams, how do they survive? Where did Christmas go? Where was Christmas on the 18th? Where was Christmas? On the 25th, it showed up. Now it's the 29th. Where'd it go? How did it go? That was a conversation. Just how did it go? How does it go? How does it go away? And then today's conversation, how does it survive? How does it survive? How do any of your dreams survive? They did a study in I forget where it was. I want to say it's Croatia, but it wasn't. It was a Baltic country. Where were all of the wars? Where back in the 70s, where all of the guys were dying. They may have become a new country by now. I don't know. Not Kazakhstan. It was somebody over in those states. It wasn't Slovenia. Anyway, somewhere in that part of the world where all of the men died and all of these babies were born and parents were dying, and they were all of these amazing orphanages that needed to take care of these kids. These the women, the nurses who were taking care of them had no time to spend time with the children. So they would pick them up, feed them, and put them back down. And they learned not to cry for attention, which is totally against being a baby. But they learned that because that's how they had to survive. How did they shut off? And they followed these individuals, they followed these children throughout the rest of their life. And this particular group of children, I don't want to say it's a full generation of 40 years, but this group of children are unique because of the way they were from childhood, from infants. We've heard about if a baby doesn't get attention, it's called crib death. They just go, I'm not worthy of love. So their desire for life just leaves and they die. That's pretty like, wow. How do your dreams survive? What are you doing to feed them? Some of you are getting chills every now and then. Some of you are getting a little fire in your belly. Some of you are going, you know what? Enough is enough. Goes back to what Bob talked about, the story of the mayor of Walter Reed, Tracy, and I forget his last name, the guy who had all 4 limbs blown off. He's got a quarter of an arm left. But he's now the mayor. He goes and has conversations with everybody. Where was his energy, his desire to become this icon, which he probably doesn't want, but he knows he can go have a conversation nobody else can have? And he knows that if people look at him and go, oh my God, he's worse off than I am, but look at how good he is. Well, he's doing it for a very self-full reason, I'm guessing. So therefore, it gives other people courage. It's time for you to become more self-full, for you to take care of you so people can go, if you can do it, I can do it. It's time to point those three fingers back, because if you start to say, well, if he can do it, I can do it. If she can do it, I can do it. No, you're the one that's going to need to be the example. You're the one that's going to need to step up, stand out, and become the one who's doing more, being more, and having more. It's okay for you to do more. It's okay for your dreams to not just survive, to thrive, because we need you to step up. We need you to stand out. We need you to be in that place to where you can be the one where people start to point to you and say, if they can do it, I can do it. Because when they point at you, guess what's pointing back at them? Their own desire, their own energy, and their own belief in them. If you can do it, I can do it. I love these calls. Thank you for being an audience. Thank you for being a participating audience. If you've ever done videos, you know it's difficult to get that state. I've just done it thousands of times, that I can have a conversation and just to a camera, and I can picture the audience sitting there. It's so much easier when you all are sitting here. What'd you learn? What'd you like from today? What have you learned? What have you liked?
For me, this is further validation of the importance of supporting permission for other people.
Yep. Imagine, Bob, if we're in the New Testament part of the chart and they're in the Old Testament part of their thoughts. And we come along, could you imagine what it was like when right there at that curve, right there at this spot right here, could you imagine what it was like right there where the old and the new started? Funny how it looks. What they were on a track for with the new idea, the new thought of this New Testament, talk about ridicule. I mean, look at that drop, that drastic drop of introspection. Oh my God, this isn't going to work. We're not good enough. We can't do this. We've really got to go back to the old ways. Everybody's trying to change. This is transition. For every breakthrough, what's that phrase we say? There's a breakdown. Some of us are here. Some of us are here. We're on the right path, but boy, it seems like it's just a shitstorm. Look at this.
Yeah, maybe there was some sort of catastrophe that became an emotional trigger for introspection, higher introspection at the time.
Yeah, but and it went this way, but man, it got real bad first. What do they say? It'll get worse before it gets better. There's the graph. There's the graph. And if we go back to this one, because it's a line curve, where'd it go? This is just a line curve, but look. There's that. But here's this down here. It's up there, down here. Same thing. Anytime we break through, it's a whole new story. Where do your dreams survive? Your dreams have been on life support, and all of a sudden you give them life inside of your own mind, inside of your own story, and your brain is going to go, your old story is going to go, your mom's going to go, your dad, your uncle, your cousin, everybody that was in grade school going, you're not good enough. What makes you think you could do that? We've got to stay the course. What caused this to break out? What caused this to go on this true hot? I mean, look at this. Yeah. You're good enough. You're good enough. Maybe you're good enough. Maybe you're good. Oh my God, you're freaking awesome. And this is the average. Look what it did way up here. Look, there were times in the Old Testament where it got pretty good based upon the words and the language.
Could have been an experience where enough people said, enough already. I've had enough.
Goes back to the day we've had enough. It's either given to us. Remember the story you were talking about, the woman? And I forget the story. I just remember, it'll come to me because it's everything that's ever been said to me has been recorded in my amazing brain and I remember it all. It just,
Yeah, the aortic aneurysm that
Yes.
threatened her life unless she quit smoking.
yep. And she became this advocate, wouldn't even be around that. So she inspired other people to do that. Listen, every one of you, I get to say this to you on this day, the 29th of December at 9:32 Central Time. Each of you are an outlier. Each of you are a category creator. Each of you are an individual that, as your dreams come back to life, as your desire comes back to life, as that fire inside of you starts to burn brighter, all you need is fuel. Come to any one of us here and we will feed you the fuel. We will pour the fuel on your fire because you need to burn brighter. This is injected values. I'm speaking to your subconscious. It's imperative that you burn brighter. It's imperative that you take your place in history. There are people counting on you. There are people this morning who are praying for somebody like you, for your energy to show up in their life. Every single one of you. They can't see you because you've put your light under a bushel basket. Right now, you don't have to burn any brighter. Take the basket off. The world needs you. I need you. My family needs you. Take your rightful place in your dreams, in your desires.
We say the world needs us, but if this theory is true, if the hypothesis I suggested is true, the world's going to get better with or without you. So it just depends on whether you want to be relinquished to the dustbin of history and been irrelevant, or whether you want to get on the train and enjoy being part of the parade.
I'd say off of the sidelines and onto the field. Awesome stuff. Anyone else? What'd you learn? What'd you like from this morning? What'd you learn? What'd you like? Alicia, what'd you learn? Noah, what'd you learn? What'd you like? What'd you like about it? Fanny, what'd you pick up from it? And if you can type it as well. Okay. I do appreciate each and
Good
every.
morning.
Hey, good morning,
Good
Noah.
morning, everybody. Sorry, I was running over to my phone. I have on my AirPods, so I was listening, but I wasn't close by. Good morning, everyone. What I liked was just what I feel was more or less a call to action for the year coming, for everything you want in your life, just everything that you feel that you can't do. For everything that I feel like I can't do, or I haven't started that I want to do, there's 10 prime examples of people who have started from the same place that I have and gone and done great things. So yeah, I like the call to action this morning. So thank you, guys.
So Noah, in my unique capacity, what's one action step you might be called to do?
As far as reaching some of the goals that I haven't actually set forth to do.
Today, what would be one action step you could do? You could say today and check the box. Not we're going to go change the world and change the rotation of the earth the other way. I'm talking about the simplest, littlest thing that you could do. One simple little task today, not January 1 or 2nd, today, that you can check the box.
I'm actually doing it right now, but I'm looking up camera equipment right now to purchase.
Okay.
But another thing that I was planning on doing today is starting to record a video for my YouTube channel.
Awesome. What would the topic be?
It's cryptocurrencies.
Excellent. So how long do you think you'd want it to last?
Maybe 5 minutes or so.
You have enough content in your head to do that?
Absolutely. I've been looking up news articles as well.
I know you do. I want you to hear that. I want you to hear yourself actually say this.
Yeah.
I know the answers to the question. A good attorney doesn't ask questions he doesn't know.
He doesn't know. My mom says that.
You've got the content. You've got the information that you don't need to go do more research. You're waiting on a camera, but you got a camera on your phone, right?
No, I'm actually using my computer, and I downloaded this software where I can actually record record my screen.
So you know you can do that,
Something else.
right? That's what I'm.
Something else I did this morning was shave off the goatee.
Oh wow! Check out, handsome man.
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
So-
You know you can do this on Zoom, right? When I do a share screen, you can pick that you're still in the upper right hand corner.
Oh, and it'll record you. You'll record your
It'll
screen through
record your
Zoom.
PowerPoint. When I do a share screen, when I go do this, and I share. Let me see something over here. I'm sharing this PowerPoint,
Yeah,
right? So then I go here and I go here. I'm still in the upper right hand corner because
I see you.
in the settings, I can say, no, don't show me, take me away. And people will do that because they're going to run an audio program, a replay program. But
Mhm.
this is me being live. So you're seeing all of these. These are different backgrounds that I've created for different, right? When you see me do my slides every morning.
hmm
So you don't have to go get a software. It's $10 a month through the A&MP link for the Zoom.
Yeah, I already paid for Zoom too.
Okay.
I
so
didn't know that.
Don't go spend another penny. Don't go spend another penny. And right now, because you can see, let me share this. Here's the other thing you want to do. You have a YouTube channel, right?
Yeah, I just started it today.
Okay, you ready? Watch this, brother. Hold on. Where is it? It's on a
I
different-
see you're live on YouTube up
Yep.
there as well.
Yeah, so there I am live on YouTube right here. So now you're recording, you get the audio, you get the video and the audio. I'll download it to your screen. It does a couple of things. It records it in a variety of different formats, but it also records the audio, which you can now use for a podcast.
Okay.
All inside of this one platform. Plus it's going live to your YouTube. It's public. You can go in and make it unpublic. You can do it unlisted later on if you want to use it as a source for some kind of future whatever, but you've got all of the tools and techniques right here.
So how do you link your YouTube to Zoom?
When you click here, so let me do this, share this. So here's my screen, right? So when you see me, where's this over here? It may not show it, but on the bottom of where, when you go live, there's a thing that the three little dots called more.
Okay.
There I can push it to Facebook. Like when I do my videos in Facebook, I push it to I'll go here and I'll push it to Facebook. When I do this recording, I push it to live so I can have my virtual assistant, my assistant who's in the Philippines. She can now take this link without having to download it from Zoom and then upload it into YouTube. It's already sitting there. She just pulls the link and throws it into my membership, my Daily Awaken membership site. So I go to
Zoom. I'm on Zoom.
So you go to Zoom. Down at the bottom of the page, where do you have it in to where you see all of us? And you see where you can click your mic or click your video, right? You turned your video on off.
Yeah, I'm on my phone, so I'm turning it around so you can see my computer.
So we're in that right-hand button. That is that the chat button with that right? Nope. Just back to that one right there. What's that one say?
I see it says record, and then I have record on this computer, record to cloud.
So you can record to the cloud. You have unlimited recording to the cloud. But when you're the host, when you create the account, when you create this, what happens
Yeah,
is,
this is mine.
no, that's yours. But when you create the event, like I'm the host of this event, you're a participant. When you're the host, to the right of that where it says record, there's going to be 3 buttons that say more. That's where you click on those 3 buttons, more, and you can push it live to YouTube. You can push it live to Facebook. You push it live to your YouTube account. It'll ask you which account do you want to connect to.
Okay. So how I set that, how I start the event is not by clicking new meeting.
You're going to go to your schedule in Zoom. You're going to go into schedule in Zoom, and you're going to go to my meetings, and you're going to go start a new meeting. You're going to go set a schedule.
Topic, date, time
Yep.
zone,
Yep.
reoccurring.
Yep. And you're just
Okay.
gonna, and you can host a meeting live, and it says with video on, you can play with testing and everything else, and just and once you become comfortable with it, then you push it to YouTube. So you can play with it all the time. Nobody's going to see the mess ups you do going to YouTube right now because you just started the channel today. I doubt there's a big
And-
list of people.
Yeah, and you can take this video as well and edit it or push it to Final Cut.
Yes. Yeah, I have
Okay.
Final Cut. So what I do is it's GMT 2019. Today would be GMT 2019, 12/29. And so I just know that's today's recording. I download it, upload it into Final Cut, and then I'll throw a front end and a back end. Right now, I don't do any of that. I just push it all the raw into my Kartra account. And now I've got
Okay.
my messages there, and they're all stored there. Now I don't upload it into my Kartra because the bandwidth would eat me alive on cost.
Mhm.
I just leave the links on YouTube, but they're unlisted. You can't find them unless you're part of the membership group. But yes, you can go take the account you currently have right now with your Zoom, and you don't need a single recording. You don't need a single software.
Perfect. Thank you.
See? Now would you learn what you like?
I learned a lot. I learned how to push and record meetings through Zoom, record
So-
everything for YouTube through Zoom. So
So
thank
here's
you.
the thing. How do your dreams survive? Going right back to the title, your dreams just took on a whole new life, didn't they?
Absolutely.
They took on a whole new life because you were vulnerable enough to say, I really want to start this. And somebody who loves you, and you know I love you, said, well, bullshit, we're not waiting. We're starting today.
Now, let's go. I love it. Thank you a lot.
Anyone else, would you learn what you like? I doubt anybody could come on as sexy as Noah with the shaved goatee and the shirtless top. Thinking about taking my shirt off. Yeah, not a chance. I like the consistency of hearing that I don't need to do more, but I need to do less. I appreciate the TED Talk and discussion about our thoughts. Yeah, isn't that crazy, Alicia? The fact that we thought, we could look back at them and they thought they were schizophrenic. These voices, where are these voices coming from? They're already inside of you. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Yeah, you can say it. Yep. So there you go, folks. Anyone else, would you learn what you like? Well, I do appreciate each and every one of you. I know where your dreams go with me. They're on fire. They're at the next level. They're already 4 or 5 steps up, but we've got to take this breath to get them. They're in the right direction. You're moving in the right direction. You have the courage, you have the faith, you have the belief, you have the strength, you have the awareness, you have all of the things necessary for the next step. Take the next step. Because what happens is now you reach the height of that mountain. You're just this far away from the next peak of awareness. And when you step on there, you're going to go, oh my gosh, look at all of this. But because you were right next to the mountain, you couldn't see it. Noah couldn't see the next step. He thought, I got to go get that. I got to go. But everything he needed was right inside of him already. This is a perfect metaphor to everything in our life. It's already there. Find somebody, find a mentor who will go, poke you on the shoulder going, yo, knucklehead, you already got all this stuff. Because they love you. They're not tied to jump. They can jump down in the hole with you and they can get you out of it because they've been in the hole. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay. I promise you, it's okay. And in 5 minutes, all of a sudden, a newfound belief for Noah steps in and it's like, oh shit, I have no more excuses. Use your phone, brother. Use your phone. Don't buy the camera equipment. I promise you, don't buy the camera equipment because when people call you successful, they're going to look at you and go, well, I can't do that. I can't afford to go get camera. Use your phone. Do it like Jim Rohn said, work part-time on your future and part-time on your income and full-time on your future. Use whatever you got right now and go, you want to see a real shitty video? Go look at my first video I did back December 29th, 2019. I used my phone. I have all of this stuff right now. Oh, the camera's already here. Awesome. Use your phone first and then go upgrade to the camera. But use the phone on the very first one. Go, man, I have this persona that I just see, and I used my phone on the first one, and man, it was fascinating. But if you use it on the first one, guess what everybody else can do? They can say, I can do that. I can do what he does. Give people a chance to follow in your footsteps. Don't make the stride so big they can't. You're running at a 4-foot stride on your pace, on your run, and people can only stretch 18 inches, 22 inches is the average stride. Don't make it too big for them to follow you. Just stay one step ahead. All you got to do is stay one step ahead of them. How do your dreams survive? Stay one step ahead. There you go, folks.
And keep the image in front of you.
Yes. Don't ever lose the sight of that.
I had the television on in the background, and we have a local financial planner who has a matching donation of $500,000 coming up to the Travis Mills Foundation. And the fact that it, just pops up on the screen there.
And Travis Mills is the mayor of Walter Reed.
He's the one that they've called the mayor of Walter Reed because of his.
That's called the reticular activating system, folks. That's called the law of attraction. Did Bob actually set up this $500,000 donation, matching donation, because he talked about him? You can call me crazy. And then it shows up on Bob's screen going, here's what you've accomplished. Here's what you did. And we go, oh, look at that. You won't believe what happened. This is called coincidence. This is how your dreams survive, because we start to activate them, and we start to look around us and we go, oh my God, I was just talking about that. No, you created that. I couldn't have created that. Take your place. Take your place in history. You helped to create that. Stranger things have happened.
Now go look at travismillsfoundation.org/Dave, and you'll see just a remarkable series of events going on that anybody can contribute to. It just may resonate with you.
How cool is that? Boy, we covered all gambits this morning. I do appreciate each and every one of you. I'm going to let you off to your amazing morning, because and you need to let me know when the video's done there, Noah. Yeah, I'm going to hold your feet to the fire, brother.
I will, for sure.
There is no pausing on your greatness, or all of you. None of you need to pause on your greatness. Keep going. Let's go have some fun today. I'm Sean Murphy, founder of Mental Profits. I'll see y'all where? At the next event. Isn't it funny, Brooke, how they keep getting better and better and better and better? So the question is, maybe I get a little better, but guess who's got to get better? The audience has to get better. In order for me to get better, you got to get better. So thank you for getting better. Love you tons. Bye for now, everybody.